Welcome back to True Story. This is John Gibson. Joining me today is Taylor Biaggi. Taylor is the founder and head instructor of Taylor Biaggi BJJ in Chicago, a dear friend. Taylor is one of the most probably BJJ credentialed or highly credentialed folks we've had today or to date here on the show. The winner of probably 20 plus gold medalists at IBJJF tournaments. I think 4 no-gi Pan Am championships, multiple gi medalist at Pan Am World Championship. Just awesome athlete, great instructor. Taylor, thank you so much.
Yeah. Oh, thank you, John. You're seriously so nice.
No. I don't know about that. I don't know. I mean, I try to be, but I feel like it's really easy to be nice to like really good people. So, you include it,
Well, thank you.
Thank you. One place I feel like it's one of my favorite questions to ask, but it's always kind of an easier place to start. But can you tell me a little bit about just like your BJJ journey? Obviously you're a black belt and instructor now, but everybody starts day one as a white belt. So what attracted you to BJJ? When did you begin training? And can you sort of just expand on that?
Sure. So I've been training jujitsu since 2009 when I was a college freshman at the University of Iowa. Before that, I like dabbled in some martial arts. So I kind of like, I don't know really why, but I was, finishing high school and I was very active at the time in high school. And I was like always trying to work out or play sports. So I tried some boxing, I tried some judo. And then before college, and then when I was in college, I just saw them training jujitsu in the rec center because I played lacrosse. And literally I was like, I don't know, I just thought it looked really fun. And I was like, that is what I want to do. And for whatever reason. And I also had been like running like sprints and stairs for lacrosse, and something about like sitting on my butt and not having to do that appealing to me. But mainly I just really wanted to, for whatever reason, right when I saw it. And I was like 18, and it was like an all boys team at Iowa. And
so were you training gi or no gi to begin with?
It was both.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a ton of funny pictures of me from when I was that age, like
well, it's so crazy now because and I encourage everybody to go into the rabbit hole and check out every Taylor match you can find on Flow or YouTube because it's awesome and she's so excited.
Oh my God.
But Taylor now as a black belt is just this tiny human being. She's just this little person you can put in your pocket. So I can't imagine you at 18, like it's just amongst all these men, these college men.
The funny thing that you bring that up, the rabbit hole, because I was just on a road trip to Carbondale and back with Chris Rojic and my student Justin. They had a tournament there. So we had a 5-hour drive home yesterday, and I was in the backseat with my student, and he just had his first blue belt super fight. And I was like, do you want to see when I had as much training as you, like my tournaments? So I pulled up old YouTube channel from the Hawkeye BJJ club.
Wow.
And I showed him my first armbar in tournament. And I showed him like just funny matches that it's hilarious because it really, it's the same athlete. You can tell, like even my jiu-jitsu, it's like really like similar, but obviously like
You've refined everything.
Yeah. But it was really cool to watch, like even for me, like it was just it was cool to see like blue belt Taylor, and like when I was in college and had all this energy and like feist doing all these tournaments. So I've done like so many.
Well, and I don't want to take us off track, but this was such like an important moment for me and in a number of ways, and this isn't about me, but to your point, what you just said, I wrestled before BJJ, and I'm just going to say it. My one claim to fame, my accomplishment, my best accomplishment was a Pan Am championship. And it was at a cadet level, which is like a college-ish level. and it was Greco-Roman. It was just, I had a really good day at a big tournament, and that pride of that carried me like almost 20 years. And I fast forward years later, and I'm a blue belt in BJJ, and I just started training with you. And it's just like early COVID epidemic, so you took every precaution available, very limited classes, tons of space, all those things. I'm just saying that for you, so you don't have to. And we're training, and I look up one day, and I see 20 or more shiny gold medals. And I'm like, oh my gosh, who are those? And I'm thinking it's two or three of the instructors maybe together, pulled them together for sure. Had to be two or three people. And then I go, those are Taylor's. I go, all of those are Taylor's? Yeah, those are Taylor's. So then I go, all right, wait a minute. So I walked up to it and I look, I go, Pan Am, Pan Am, Pan Am, Pan Am. And I stopped counting at 4. And I go, oh my gosh, I've been training with you for months. B, had no idea for all those reasons. You were also so humble. But lastly, you never know who you're in the room with. It was just for all those things. It was earth shattering to my world. I was like, oh my gosh. Anyway, it sets you apart. It's to your credit, but you've been a vast competitor. You've never been afraid to compete, right? Can you speak about that? Like, as a woman, has it been hard to find matches or no, or,
Yeah, that's for sure true. I'd say, um, so the downside on that is like when I started, like they would just lump us all together, every girl, weight and belt level, and that was really frustrating at first, actually, just because like I was a smaller girl, like I was like 100, 110, 115 pounds at the time, and to be lumped with like the athletic, big, strong girls when you're starting jujitsu, like everybody sucks. Like, I mean, there's some people that are, have wrestling backgrounds, but that was not me. Like, even though I jumped right in and loved jujitsu, I sucked. Like, I mean, my mom literally said, like, you have so many talents. Like, why do you want to do this?
That's amazing. I know the version of you now. That's so great. So that's amazing that you weren't naturally just like.
Oh no. I mean, I would lose every match. Like, I mean, to the point, like I would like cry after tournaments just because I would have like 6 losses, 8 losses in a day. And that's like hard for anyone to like take. But I didn't care. Like, I never cared about like any of that. So I have like a certain, I guess just a certain like natural disposition that allowed me to persevere through that. But for sure, I can see why many women would quit or not like be able to survive through those first years, when you don't have like even fights ever, like in the room you don't have even fights because your male training partners are so much stronger. Right. And then you go compete and you have to fight upper belts. I mean, they used to group like every belt, like, or half, at least half up, half down, like purple, blue, white would all fight, or brown and black, stuff like that. And and nowadays it sucks because again there's few black belts. So like, I don't know if people will sign up for an open. And it's kind of nice, like, everyone says like just sign up anyway. It's like I kind of have a life and like other stuff going on now. Like, competing is not my number one focus these days. Right. So like I do want to compete, continue to compete, because I feel like it's a very important part of my job. But I'm not trying to sign up for every open and hope for a match and then like plan around that and buy tickets and not have a match. You know what I mean? Yes. So it's more super fights that are kind of the thing at this level. Okay. Or the major tournaments.
Right. You touched on something that I think it would be awesome if you could if you could sort of elaborate on this, because I think even I want to know, as a training partner, from a male to a female, what advice can you give us? How can we be a better training partner to our female partners?
I would say, and I actually spend a lot of time thinking about these days, which is really funny because when I was in my earlier 20s, and I'm 30 now, by the way. So I started when I was 18. So, as I got up in the ranks and people started telling me all the time, like, you're a role model for women, like, you should encourage women to train, you should teach women. I would like get really annoyed at the time because I was like, why just women? Like, why is everyone in my ear about I should help
Mm,
women? I could help anyone. I could
sure.
definitely teach men too. But now I totally get it. Like I was silly like at the time because I mean any black belt woman I met throughout the years was I mean a huge influence. Like meeting one time a nice a good female black belt who was like nice to me was like um I don't know, like a game changer every
Yeah.
time. But the question was, what can males do to be good training partners? And number one would be like respect, because um, I mean, as it is as a female, when you're the only, when you're the only one, like in general, like if you were the
Mhm.
only male and there was a big group of females, you feel different. You feel like
Isolated.
maybe like not as like cool, they're not as like important, or looked over a lot. And that's one thing. So it all comes from respect. And like um and if you respect somebody, you're gonna help them, you're gonna help them learn, you're gonna appreciate them being there. You're going to develop take the time to develop that training relationship. Like every single two people should be able to train together. But um, based on discrepancies, there's going to be, you're going to not be able to be ego involved. There's going to need to be help. You need to help each other. Like, if you're evenly matched in size and skill, then helping each other would be pushing each other, coming at each other, you know, being ruthless toward each other, giving each other that competition look. But when you have like a 50-pound weight discrepancy and a gender difference, like, um, uh, you know, I literally believe that the women in jujitsu are just as, there's no difference in as far as who can be skillful, right?
Yeah, I agree.
But uh, in order to learn in a role, like you need to have a certain pace, you need to have a certain focus of how to you're going to benefit from the role and how the other person's going to benefit,
Mhm.
and not just winning the role.
Mhm.
I would say just, yeah, support them, encourage them, help them learn like the new ones, because it can be really difficult to be the smallest and weakest in the room as it is. I mean, you hear like men grow up and say like, when I was 16 and I know like a lot of dudes that train that when they were younger started, and they're like, guys used to bully me all the time, but now I'm strong and I can make up for it. And it's like, that's not going to happen to me. I'm staying the same size forever. So I
Mhm.
don't know. I don't get to like come into like manhood and
I
pay
understand.
back that like whatever. So
It's
yeah.
actually, I say I understand. No, I don't understand that last part, but that's fascinating. But yeah, I understand what you just said, I guess is what I mean. Wow. Like, you're right. You're not going to grow into that, right? Like, this is what you got to work with. I get
Yeah.
that.
And like I'm not saying you either like take it easy on me or whatnot.
Mhm.
I'm literally saying, when I train with a white belt, I can
Mhm.
train one of two ways. I can literally like make sure I win every role and make sure he knows that, and whatever. Or I can train with the intention that I'm going to be learning. Like I'm going to make goals in this role. I'm going to like learn from this role, and my partner is going to learn.
Mhm.
And like I'm humble enough to not have to just put my A game on him every single second of every single role.
Mhm.
See, I think people get a little bit confused about like, and that's not even about putting the girl in their place. That's literally just how sometimes males or people train.
Mhm.
And it's not when your partner is smaller, less like less skilled, etc. Like, there's a big learning curve. And
Mhm.
think about it, if you're always fighting outside your weight class, you're not always going to get that same feedback in a
No.
conversation setting. Like I feel like my jiu-jitsu, because of not having more female training partners or smaller training partners, I
Mhm.
can only do a certain percentage of like I only perfected like a certain percentage of moves,
Mhm.
because in order for them to be successful, it has to be perfect, right?
Mhm.
So now that's a good thing about being a girl training. But I would love to have like, everyone with short stubby legs would love to be able to do triangles, but even more than that, like just a more diverse set of moves, sweeps,
Mhm.
guard passes. But when you're small, you have to just play what's smart
Sure.
against them. So in my opinion, that hindered my jiu-jitsu in certain ways.
Mhm.
I'm always jealous of those middle-sized
Mm,
men that they get smaller than them partners and they get bigger than them partners, and
mm,
they can stop things they don't want to happen sometimes and control
mhm,
situations, you
mhm.
know. So, putting a female on the defense all the time when you're way bigger and stronger, I mean, it's a good thing, right? Because they can develop those defense skills, have great guard retention, be
Mhm.
safe, all that. But is that, and that's great for self defense. And it kind of depends on the girl's goals. But
Yeah.
for me, like that was a really hard
Mhm.
learning curve to get over when
Mhm.
you're 113 pounds
For sure.
and there's injuries and like it's
Mm.
just I'm super to help support women in jiu-jitsu. I plan on promoting controlled, safe training environments, not because we're pussies, but because
Yeah.
literally jiu-jitsu is very cerebral,
Right.
takes years to learn, and why not facilitate learning? Like that's the whole point to me of training.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like there's so many opportunities to go hard and to give each other competitive roles and everything, but help your partner learn is
Mhm.
huge.
Yeah.
Like,
Thank you. No, that's great. It's such good feedback. And I have such admiration for anyone that does BJJ because I do it and I understand what that journey is like. But moreover, like I love me some white belts. Like it wasn't that long ago for me. So I remember walking through the fire and more
yeah,
than anything, I remember walking into a room and I didn't, I just remember walking into a room and feeling like, oh man, I am the weakest person in this room. Whoa. And that was,
after being like a super strong wrestler.
yeah, yeah, I felt more that way having walked out of the room after having been tapped 9 times. I was just like, "What? I didn't know people could do this."
Right.
These guys that like ride mopeds that are
It's
half my size.
mind blowing.
It was
Yeah, it
that
really is.
it was crazy, and like I say that just to say that in a way, it makes me respect women more, even more because they're for all the reasons you just listed. They're usually the smallest. They usually have limited training partners, all that stuff. So um, for
Yeah,
a long time, I was intimidated. Like I did not want to roll with women because I knew I was sort of spazzy and I was afraid, like, God, I'm gonna hurt her. And I just
right.
don't trust myself. And then once I got a little bit more confidence in controlling myself, I feel like personally, I made a huge leap, and I know I made a huge leap because I was able to slow down, listen, and sort of be communicated to in a totally different way.
Yeah,
And you said it for me. I feel like my intention immediately shifted, and it was unknowingly.
right.
From winning it, I wanted to win every round with every male partner I had ever touched,
Mhm.
to all of a sudden, like now we're working together,
Yes,
and it was
absolutely.
yeah, and that really helped.
Um,
Um,
I actually teach my males uh right away. It's kind of interesting, I guess, now that I think about it, but right away I teach my people how to train with girls.
mm,
Like we say
yeah,
I'm good coach and Rohan's bad coach, like as in he's like the strict one, like he's the
right.
one that like yells sometimes or he like keeps everyone in check, and like the boys love that, and I'm always like the careful and like nice coach, but I'm really actually quite strict. Like they'll tell you like it's just a different way. Oops, let me make sure this is good.
Yeah,
And with training with females, that's like top of one of the top of the
yeah.
list. Like Justin, my student who's been with me for the longest time, 2 years. Um, he's a great training with girls. I'll put him with girls
Yes.
right away, and it's expected that I've had to train him to do that. Like I'm like
Mhm.
slower. He'll be like, but I think I am. I thought I was going nice. Like that's not how I go with the guys. And I'm like, I don't want you to go nice. I want you to do all your techniques, but only with matching her strength, And
Mhm.
now he's really good. It made his jujitsu like better.
Mhm.
And yeah, I train all my brand new white belts. Like I'm like, okay, like you're going with a girl or you're going with a small person. I force them to be controlled, literally for learning purposes as much as for safety purposes.
Mhm.
Yeah, and it seems to work. So
I saved this question because it's good. It's just my favorite one, and I hate to just alienate half of the world here because we're going to get so geeky into jujitsu. But um, I've taken a number of privates with you and tons of classes, so I've been a student of yours. Um, I know how technical you are. like it's amazing. Like it's amazing. And jujitsu is this beautiful thing to me where you can see a black belt just do a sweep and it's like whoosh, effortless, and it looked like he did something and you missed it, like a magic trick, he or she, I should say. And then vice versa, you could do that same thing, and then that's someone else can describe it and told you 50 micro movements and stuff, and you're in the middle of that, and that's great
Right,
because it's
right.
enough detail for me to actually retain. But how did you get so cerebral? Like, I guess what I'm asking is like, what
Really good
influenced
question.
you, and like how did you become this type of instructor?
That's such a good question, John. It's because so that was a big part of my journey. Um, and okay, so first of all, from 2009 till 2017, I was competing full time. Like I had jobs, like I was working, but I was also jujitsu was the most important thing, and I was put everything in jujitsu, like training twice a day, drilling, everything, sparring. But I wasn't as cerebral. Like my technique was because of hours and hours of experience and yeah, I was taught a lot of stuff from my coaches, of course, but I needed my coaches to teach me things for me to progress. And otherwise I was just counting on mileage and like hours. And people used to always say like, you need mat hours, that's how you get better, you just need mat hours. That was always the answer I heard. And I now completely disagree. And I think jujitsu was really hindered by that. That meant like so many different mentalities around learning, like a lot of secrecy, like I have the secret sauce. That's why I always describe it. I have the secret sauce, like as in you need to pay me to learn from me. Um, Also, like as if there's like some sort of secret to getting better at jujitsu that like that other people can't access, like an exclusivity type thing. That's another thing I really want to change. So I actually quit jujitsu for a year. I don't know if you know that in
No.
2000. So right after I got my brown belt, I was already like on the verge of just stop. I just completely stopped training, and a lot of it had to do with learning curve. Like I couldn't I couldn't like figure out how to continue to learn and improve, and I was frustrated by that. And I was also really isolated as a woman. Like I didn't have any didn't I didn't sometimes you feel super like lonely, like unsupported, like you get passed up for a lot of like opportunities for like less uh qualified males, and that happened to me all the time. I mean, a number of things pissed me off, but either way, when I came back to it, so teaching fell into my lap, like jujitsu. I was personal training and randomly got a job at a UFC gym just because it was close to my house. I was teaching kickboxing there, which I've never done. Like I don't. It was like a cardio kickboxing class, and then the jujitsu instructor like couldn't do it anymore, or like wasn't able to make it a lot. So they asked me to fill in, and I was like, yeah, sure. And the first day I taught, I was wow, I forgot that this is my favorite thing in the world.
Wow.
And I never knew that I loved teaching because I asked so many times. Like I tried to teach so many times throughout the years. I was always passed up for the job.
Mm,
Like even just for helping voluntarily for free, I was just
wow.
never able to get into teaching. Like I was always passed up, and it kind of like squandered my interest. And then now
Yeah.
when I taught for the first day, I literally realized that same as my first day in jujitsu, I literally realized it was what I wanted to do. Like, so, anyway, sorry, I'm digressing. The
No,
question
that's
was, um, oh, how did I become cerebral? So it was because of teaching, because I hadn't trained right in a while, and I didn't feel comfortable. Maybe I think this is another like maybe advantage to being a woman, because like more times we're like overthinkers and like unsure of ourselves, I feel like,
mm.
whereas a lot of males I see was like I can do it and
I
like
think
just
we're
confident.
pretending. Don't let us fool you. Like we're totally faking it.
Well, it's
A
good
lot
to
of
do.
bravado.
It's good to have confidence. I wish I had more naturally, but because I didn't, I was like, I don't want to teach anyone something I'm not like super, I don't know exactly what I'm teaching them. So I
Mm,
went to YouTube and was looking up and started looking up instructionals. And I was like, oh my God, like, this is perfect. Like, I'm literally watching someone, I watched a bunch of people teach side control escapes. And then I was like, okay, now I get the concept. Because I mean, you know, you've been training jujitsu for how many years?
About 2.5.
2.5. Okay. And do you feel like, you know how it is. There's so much to learn in jiu-jitsu. You couldn't, that's why people who've trained, 2.5, even 5 years don't teach, because like, you could, and even
Oh, I
for
could
me,
never imagine teaching. Yeah.
it's hard. So I started studying. I actually found my favorite instructors, like, that now I buy all my instructionals from, and I study all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And it just started, like, I think probably all things can be broken down to a science, like literally walking your dog like with a leash, like there's science behind it, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So the more you know, the better. And I started
You
studying
should give
jiu-jitsu.
yourself credit though, because it takes a certain type of mind to be able to analyze and like process
Yeah,
it, analyze it, and then relay it to
yeah.
others. And you're really good at that, Taylor. Like you're really good.
So the perfect storm, like the perfect combination, was I do have that 10 years of doing it blindly,
Mm,
like I had coaches, but coaches in jiu-jitsu aren't paid very much, like, or at least the past generation, and they have 100 other students, so
right.
it's not like you can rely on them the way I was trying to get better. And so once I discovered studying, yeah, exactly. It's because of my experience. I was like, oh yeah, that's what I do that works, and that's something I've always had problems with. So I'm able to problem solve. I'm able to formulate my lesson plans. I'm able to very confidently teach fundamentals to my students,
Mm-hmm.
and then improve my game immensely. So yeah, it came from teaching, and it has been a game changer. So guys, people out there who train jujitsu and are frustrated and stuck, that is my, like, I have two like ideal clients, like people I really want to help, and that I feel like my career objective is to solve their problems, and that is beginners, especially women who are intimidated to start. And I love sparking love for jujitsu in people, and then stuck people. I've actually been going on forums online right now, to sort of help myself answer people's questions that they didn't ask me, that they
Yeah.
asked for them, and also to better my ability to answer the questions, and to help people and get my name out
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
So many people are like, I'm so stuck and like unmotivated, and that was me when I quit.
Mm,
So I'm like, well, it's because you need to change it up. Like, I tell them, like, you can't, I have a very specific philosophy on training, and technique wise and tactic wise. And I think when you just try to memorize technique by technique, it's not, you're gonna have a really hard time performing that on a live person,
sure.
unless you break things down to more um, simple concepts, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
and focus on those while you're training.
Mm-hmm.
So stuff like that.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And yeah, that's great. I love how um like I see a theme in this for sure. Like you honestly took like some of the biggest challenges you've like encountered like throughout this journey, being like the only woman in the room and all kind of the disadvantages of that. And then you were disheartened and quit, and then had your passion reignited, and now you want to share that with other people that are kind of in that like sort of period of their journey too, which I think is so inspiring. Like I love that. I didn't even know that about you, which is so interesting because you've been
Yeah.
having met you on the other side. I didn't know you in 2009, or 2010 when you were early. So I know you as a
People met
black.
me in 2017 when I gained 30 pounds and quit jiu-jitsu.
It's crazy.
That was an interesting time to know me.
It's just crazy. But I just see this road of success. I had no idea the trials, the adversities, what it took to. It blows my mind that you had to struggle to be a teacher ever. That those opportunities just didn't come around.
Oh yeah, I mean,
That blows
like,
my mind.
I have like a little. Sometimes I have like bitterness still about stuff like that, but when it comes down to it, I appreciate every step of my journey. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
I would not be where I'm today. Not that I'm
Right, you're doing great.
falling out or whatever, but I'm happy. I'm very
Right,
happy.
right.
And
Right, but you are doing great
sure
in
that's
your own
successful.
academy. I mean,
Yes.
yeah.
And I have my students that like mean the literal world to me, and I'm super happy to help them, and they're happy too. So
You know, it's been amazing too to be a small part of that. But um, this weekend, I watched your competitor compete. You know, I watched that, and I watched Chris too. But I also saw another one of your students, whom you coached, a female student from white belt to blue belt, win Pan Am's this past year, and I can't imagine what pride that must have brought you.
oh my God, I can't even tell you so much.
Yeah, yeah, it was, you know,
And
and it's I'm a little older, but and again, even though I'm so much newer to jujitsu, I've been in the room with some amazing wrestlers in my time, and I know what it was like to, because I lived it, to look at someone and be like, man, that person's really special, and you know that that person's special, and then I know what it's like to see, man, that person is like a really good student, and they're a grinder, and then they're also high achievers, and I was in this little room with both of those types of people, and you were coaching both of those types of people to success. And it was
yeah,
like, what a testament to you, I think. But it's also what a testament to them, because they put in the work, obviously.
yes,
And
yes.
yeah, you know, so it's just
It
like,
has to be
but
a
it's
good.
so cool to be around that, you know, and I don't know, I think those people kind of seek each other too, you know.
Yeah.
I've trained with you, and then literally like looked around, and I've been like, there are 4 world champions in here warming up. Like, when else does this happen? You know?
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
So, you know, kind of switching gears a little bit outside of maybe jujitsu, like what else kind of fuels you, or what do you do to maybe even
Oh
just take a
wow.
break?
What else do I what?
Like to fuel your passion, or just to take a break to kind of recharge outside of BJJ?
Um, so just because I'm in the jujitsu mindset right now, I'm like, oh, what else do I even like? But I have a dog. I was just watching a bunch about dog training last night because I think that's interesting. Um, I'm getting into urban gardening. Um, but I spend a lot of my time uh, planning like my academy because I want to
Mhm,
open my gym,
mhm.
planning like how to reach more people, how to help more people, what people need help with. Like I'm kind of in like a little bit of a curiosity stage because, like I said, prior to teaching and knowing that I wanted to open a gym, I uh, I thought that I wasn't interested in it. So I completely blocked out like normal people like problems, I guess, regarding jujitsu.
Yeah,
Um, Meaning I was only focused on myself, I guess, in my
yeah,
own competitions. And now I'm like hyper focused on helping people. So I spend a lot of times rotating to freshen up my mind. I rotate between studying jujitsu and then studying different things about like marketing or research. I do my own market research, I guess you could say.
yeah,
And then
yeah,
my dog.
yeah. Your
And
dog.
that's about it.
Yeah, no, that's enough to keep you busy. And I've seen your lesson plans, and they are like pages and pages and pages of notebooks, and you'll have an
Mhm.
illustration. I mean, they're intense, and it's again a testament to the effort and preparation you're putting into those. So
And I'll also just obviously have to love it, right? I mean, I couldn't
for
do all
sure,
that. Love it in and out,
yeah,
but and it helps so much. Like my jujitsu and the jujitsu of my students, like what the reason I'm very strong willed about things, especially about my teaching, is because I my way. I mean, like the way I do things is because I have tried so many different ways of
mm,
teaching and of myself getting better. I've tried all the old ways, the ways most people learn and jujitsu and teach and study it, and I've seen just plateaus. And then when I've done the cerebral route, when I've studied, stance and balance in and out and all these different details, um, uh, I've seen like insane results in comparison. So that's why I'm very stubborn, and that's why I continue to do this for now. Since the day I've taught, I bet I can look back in my YouTube history and find the video. Since the day I've taught, I've been watching instructionals like daily.
that's
So
amazing.
it's been 2.5 years.
So you've just always educated yourself and taken that initiative. Like you said, you obviously love it. You obviously have the passion, and that's really what probably fuels most of it. But I guess maybe kind of just heading toward a conclusion, but anything maybe just like a lesson learned or like wisdom to depart, anything like you would say, hey, if I were like meeting, if I were in an airport and there was a mom and a little girl, a 10-year-old, she said, should she do this jujitsu? I've heard about it. Like what benefit does that bring to her life? This little.
Oh my gosh. So for someone who's um never trained, I would say, I mean, at the very bare minimum, jujitsu will bring an opportunity into your life to develop skills and like any sport would give you an outlet to develop, I guess, um and have fun and have friends. If you're a young person, especially like a child, I feel like it'll give you so many valuable life skills as well. um and to if that person was to start training, I would tell them to always just have a learning mindset and always have the goal to improve, and that mindset takes you really far.
Yeah, yeah, awesome. Thank you. This was great, Taylor. I really appreciate getting the opportunity to torpedo you 1,000 questions and ask you all these things.
It was a lot of fun.
Thank you so much. Again, so where can everybody, and I'll include this, when I post this, but where can everybody reach you for just questions, privates, to find more about your academy?
So I have a website, taylorbiagijujitsu.com. You can fill out the contact form there. You can also DM me or reach out to me on my Instagram, my personal Instagram or my business Instagram. So mine is Taylor Biagi BJJ that I've had for years. And then my business training is Taylor Biagi Jiu-Jitsu, same as my website. So you guys can DM me there or send me a message on my contact form on my website.
Awesome. Well, I owe you a million thank yous for a million other reasons than just today. But thank you, Taylor.
Thank you so much. I seriously had so much fun.
Awesome. This is True Story with John Gibson and Taylor Biagi. Thank you very much for watching.